Hello, folks. Great news. Canada has just fined a comedian $35,000 for making a joke. I think previous to this, there was the guy in Vancouver who was being heckled by lesbians, and he said, "You're too ugly to get a man," or something. Not the wittiest anti-lesbian joke, but I believe they were awarded $10,000. This sets a new precedent at $35K. Now, what a lot of Americans don't understand is up in Canada, we have the Canadian Human Rights Commission, and they monetarily enforce equality from coast to coast. If a Sikh isn't being served at a restaurant expeditiously enough, the restaurant has to pay him. And it's very expensive fighting these guys. So what most people do is they just say fine, and they pay them 10 grand, and the government gets the lion's share of the money. Oh, my tie's not on right. The government gets the lion's share of the money, and then the comedian or the guilty party or the waitress agrees not to mention it. It's called extortion. The mob has been doing it for a long time. And if there's one thing the mob hates, it's snitches. You see, once you call the cops, once you get the authorities involved, you get the eyes on the mob, and that jeopardizes their income source. Mike Ward made a joke about a handicapped child. His name was Jeremy Gabriel. He was known in the media as Petit Jeremy, Little Jeremy. Do we have a picture of him? Now, Jeremy has a condition that's called Treacher Collins, I believe. And as far as I can see, it's not fatal. I don't even think it's that mental. It's sort of like like Down syndrome if you were smart. I think you can get a little bit of Down syndrome and be an advanced Down syndrome guy and have a relatively high IQ within that. I don't think he's dumb. I think he's normal. He just is disfigured. And it looks pretty bad when you see him. So if he complains, you go, yeah, whatever you want. And this little boy got to deal with, Canada's Make-A-Wish Foundation, whatever they're called. Now, I don't know their particular parameters. I don't know their requirements. But most people who watch that kind of stuff understand that the kid is dying. I think it's duplicitous for you to not be dying and to get your last wish. So this little boy performed in front of the Pope, and it was very cute, and everyone laughed, and it was wonderful, and he was a media giant. Everyone loved little Jeremy. Years and years and years go by, and he's not dead. So Mike Ward made a joke. He said he was unkillable. He said he's going to kill him, blah, 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 blah. The Human Rights Commission found that joke to be offensive and punished Mike for it. We've got Mike Ward on the line. Mike, are you there?
Yeah, I am here.
How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Weird couple of days, but where do I have to go? Okay, I'll move this way. Yeah, weird couple of days, but yeah, I'm doing okay.
Now, I noticed you have the same hairdo as Trigglypuff.
I do. I woke up this way and I realized, okay, my hair's really puffy.
Yeah.
I need a hat, or I need,
Or a haircut. You look like a when I look at you, I think of lesbian bed death. So here's my theory about this. I think that the Human Rights Commission, like the mob, they just keep extorting people across the country, and comedians are their Achilles heel, because just like that guy in Vancouver, when you call them on it, you expose them. Sunlight is the best disinfectant, and all of a sudden, everyone knows about their hustle.
Yeah, like, see, I was found guilty yesterday or the day before, and I've gotten so much support from people, like, just walking down the street. I had 3 shows last night. 2 of them I walked into standing ovation. Yes. So people are really not happy with the verdict.
That's amazing. And it was supposed to be $100 grand, was it not?
Yeah, they were asking 100, and it's actually 42, because it's 35 to the kid, and then I have to give 7,000 to the mother.
Oh my God! To the mother?
Yeah, the mother.
That doesn't make. Well, how old is he now?
He's 19.
Oh, I see. So he's a separate adult. The poor mother. What about the father? Didn't he suffer?
The father, no one cares about the father.
But in the court, Now, that boy was born with some sort of underwatery problem when he was born, right? They called it water in his lungs or something?
Yeah, he was born with what? That's one thing. Like during the court case, since he was born with water in his lungs, and in my joke, I said that I tried to drown him, and the father was like, "Everyone knows he was born with water in his lungs, and Mike Ward wants to make him suffer again." And I was like, no one knows he had water in his lungs. And it's not like when I think of a joke, I'm calling hospitals going, hey, do you have any scoop? Is there a scoop about how Pitsy Jeremy was born? Oh, water in his lungs. That's amazing.
Yeah, because if there's one thing that a comedian is obsessed with, it's not getting a laugh and getting more money and getting a bigger audience because he's funny. It's making a child cry.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I got into comedy.
So he uses this whole thing to help your fine, and he doesn't even end up with any money.
No, like he, what's like now he, the court told me to give them money, but I'm appealing it, yeah. And then if I lose the appeal, we'll go to the Supreme Court. And my plan, I have this devious plan. I'm just going to stretch this out until he eventually dies.
Well, you may be waiting a while. I don't know a lot about this condition, but I looked it up, and I saw a bunch of kids with it. They're pretty articulate little guys. I don't see it as that fatal.
No, it's not fatal. I thought he was a dying little kid when I first saw him, but it's just something that affects how the face is formed.
Exactly. See, that's the funny thing. You just made a random joke that should have been forgotten, but you actually exposed what I call a scam. I'm being careful of the legal jargon here. I call it a scam. Those foundations, I don't care what it says on paper. We all understand as a community that those foundations are for people who have no hope. Like there was that guy who was going to die before Star Wars came out, and they let him see the movie before it came out, and then he died. Got it. Stage 4 cancer. Got it. You deserve that. You're dying. But you can't go, just because you have a weird face, you can't go running around singing for the Pope every 10 minutes.
Yeah, but this kid wasn't with the Make-A-Wish people, though. It was there was a TV show called The Nous Suivants that was kind of the same. It's the same basic idea. They take people that were sick and make their dreams come true.
Okay, well, someone is being duplicitous here. If it's not the boy, it's the show. Because the culture here in the entire Western world is, if you see someone who looks handicapped doing a thing that's special, they're dying.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, one thing I wanted to bring up, too, I think a lot of Americans see this and they go, well, Canada's screwed. What a shitty place. They don't have the First Amendment. We have the exact same thing going on here. The only difference is it's not state-sponsored. But Nero just got kicked off of Twitter, not because he said anything to Leslie Jones, but because someone made it look like she tweeted at him and said something rude, and other people were mean to her, so Twitter says, well, you're banned. And I know that's just a social media thing, and it's not his job, but people lose their jobs all the time in America. They lose their careers. We just had this guy, Cale Hartman, on the show, who lost his entire life because of a rape accusation that never made it to court. So we have the same culture of censorship. It just doesn't happen to be sponsored by the government.
Yeah. I think it's as bad in the States. It's just since you guys have the First Amendment, well, people can bring other people to court, but you're like you were saying, it's not state.
Well, it never makes it to court. Like the funny thing about the court in America is, usually when a free speech trial makes it to an actual court, the government tends to side on the side of free speech, but it never makes it there because you can just ruin a man's life, get him fired, make him lose all his business just by starting a rumor. So it doesn't really matter if it's the CHRC or a Twitter campaign. You're still out tons of money.
Yeah, and what's weird with my thing is generally the Human Rights Commission, they go after people that treat handicapped people differently, or they treat, black people differently. They're going after me because I treated that kid like everyone else.
Good point.
They're telling me, okay, you can make fun of him because he's disabled, but that's saying, okay, he's too weak, he can't take a joke. We should treat people that are disabled differently because they're not as good as we are.
You know what's a fun game? Take any commercial where the husband, the white male husband, is a complete buffoon. make him into a black wife, and then make the white wife into a white husband. So you have this white husband rolling his eyes at how stupid his black wife is, and you will see some of the most racist propaganda you've ever seen in your life. As long as a white male is the victim, anything goes.
Yeah, exactly.
And as soon as they do something uncouth, they're looking at massive fines.
Exactly. That's why I'm trying to, like, I'm slowly turning into an Asian woman with my eyes, just to make sure that I'll be okay for a while. I want to stop being a white dude.
Well, you're at the point now where it's homophobic to torture you, to put you in any kind of duress, because you are a lesbian.
I'm an Asian lesbian. So quit coming after me, you bunch of homophobes.
Well, xie for being on the show, and zai che.
Awesome.
Bye. Did you like that? Okay, check it out. I got a whole comedy show called How's It Going, Eh? You just have to click right here to subscribe.